Hi guys, welcome back to JSTV. I'm back again, and tonight I've got Chelsea superfan is Simon Kirby. How you doing, Simon? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right. Super fan, I'm not sure about, mate, but yeah, I'm very good. Yeah,
Oh,
just
bless
a
you.
normal dude.
Normal dude, just
Yeah,
like everybody else there. And you know
yeah,
what it is, like, at the end of the day, it's always your normal fan. I'm a normal fan. People think he's a super fan. I'm not a super fan. Never been a super fan. I'm just a normal fan like everybody else. I tell them that as well, and you get the drift. So yeah, so guys, like if you like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Newcastle fans and Chelsea fans, especially as well, watching this channel as well. Make sure you share the content as well, and do follow Simon Rich Kirby as well on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Right, it's been a bit of breaking news, and happened at 7 o'clock tonight, called the Talk Sport, that Mauricio Pochettino has left the club by mutual consent after just one season. And for me, I think it's an absolute disgraceful decision by Todd Boehly. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but you know what? He turned the season around, 5 straight wins, got Chelsea into Europa League place, possibly Europa Conference if United win the FA Cup. But I tell you what, right, Simon, it is absolutely disgraceful, man. I'm going to read it out. I'm going to read out what the club has said. Excuse me. And like I said, it's been set by it's gone by mutual consent. And I'm not going to read it out word by word. This is what Chelsea Football Club come out and said, right? Thank you to the Chelsea ownership group and the sport directors for opportunity. That's what was said. The club is now well positioned to keep moving forward in the Premier League and Europe in the years to come. And yeah, what can I say about that, Si? I mean, your team, man. Take it away, man.
Okay, where to start?
From the top, man.
Oh, okay, yeah. I only got half an hour, not half a week, John. I think I think there's a lot of division within the fans. Not a lot of it is to do with him being ex-Spurs either. A lot of it, I think, initially was based on some fairly insipid, for me, press conferences after we've felt folding like decks of cards and a lot of away games. He seemed all of a sudden to grow a pair without being too descriptive. And whether it's by luck or design, with Fernandes being injured, we suddenly have landed in some form. And I think for everyone that I knew, even though a few people were Poch out, I'd never ever want a manager out, never ever, because particularly at the moment with a young side, and also the instability that the club has, it's still hugely unstable for me. You look at, we just signed another 15-year-old Brazilian paperboy. So, there doesn't seem to be a structure there, but Pochettino seemed to be getting somewhere with it. We think, obviously, the lines have been hot, John. There's been a big disagreement, we think, over Gallagher and Chalobah about selling them. And, we talked about Lewis Hall last summer, if you remember. I think the owners are seeing Cobham as a conveyor belt of profitability. And it's not so much about being ungrateful for the club spending money. And it's not so much about the fact that we understand that sometimes you can't keep all your graduates. You can't have a team full of, 11 Cobham graduates. It doesn't work like that. But more to the point, both those players, particularly Gallagher, have been playing exceptionally well all season. Very, very, Chalobah's very underrated, very steady performers, being injured. But both those players are needed in that squad at the moment. Now, I'm surmising what this is about, but it's I think that is a very telling sign. And I think this is the root cause of where we are in terms of churning players through and buying potential. But you just can't have any stability buying potential all the time. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, look, it is an absolute mess at the minute. Like, do you know what I mean? Absolute mess. And I'm just absolutely surprised because he's got this guy in for a project, right? I mean, he's going to be like a long-term project, yeah. Like I said, he turned the season around, right? You mentioned there about Gallagher and Chalobah as well will have to be sold as well. Mauricio didn't want that. And once you turn to your own and say, I don't want them sold, and then they go against that, then unfortunately, there's going to be one winner, and that's going to be the owner. So the manager doesn't stand a chance. For me, right? I mean, I think Pochettino deserves better. Do you know what I mean? The way he's acted, the way he's treated. Any other manager's going to come in, we're going to go through the runners and riders in a minute. Any other manager's going to come in, right? They need to be told before they stand on that dotted line. Don't send them the pup, yeah?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, you got to look at the CV, you got to look in, go through, what's the word, due diligence, right? And you got to find out what they're all about. Talk to them. Don't just jump in, yeah? Because I tell you now, right, I think your club now is in a mess because you got a lot of players there. You've done £1 billion deep, right? That new manager's going to come in and you've got to sort it out because those players are on long-term contracts as well. And it is an absolute disgrace at that football club, man. I mean, I feel for Poch, man. And where does he go from here, man?
Well, I think going back to the point about this, they've left by mutual consent. This isn't a sacking. This is by mutual consent. So by definition, there's some fundamentals that they don't agree on, some big fundamentals. And to me and many others, it's this conveyor belt of moving common players who you integrate into the squad and who become key members of the squad, moving them on because they generate that profit. Now, I'm not stupid enough to understand that it's an expensive business running a football club. But you've got to first and foremost looking at what the contribution of those players is to the team or are to the team. And Gallagher in particular, I mean, he's been the club captain because Reece James has played less than 500 minutes of league football this season. So, you know, he's had to take that on board. You know, I'm not going to say that, you know, he's an elite player, but he's a player that's actually driven himself into the ground for the club this season. And with Caicedo as well, they're looking like a good midfield too, irrespective of the profitability again. So I think that's the key for me is why has this happened? And I can't think of any other reason apart from that, John, and that casts a huge shadow over this ownership now. I mean, we've discussed before, you know, we weren't really too sure where they were going at, but if that's their underlying thinking, then, you know, the club is in a bit of turmoil. There's people out there who wanted him gone because of the Spurs connection, but you know, we're now being linked with the bloody Ipswich manager. Well, that's great, isn't it? I mean, all due respect to him, they've got aspirations of getting to the Champions League and this, that, and the other, as we all have. But it's a beast of a league. And you're starting with somebody potentially with no experience in the league, throw in a European competition as well, whichever one it may be. And, you know, you come up short in your first game, the pressure is going to be immense on whoever's taken this job. And to put a young manager in, crazy for me. You need somebody with a bit of water under their bows. You need somebody who can handle the pressure because the pressure is going to be immense at Chelsea next season. I may be wrong, but that's my take.
Facts. And I tell you what, they need the time. Every time in the world they're going to get. As simple as that. I mean, Henry Winter, the journalist, and he's a top guy. He's hoping to be channel very soon. He just summed it up in one word in his tweet: madness. Yeah. Absolutely madness. And he's absolutely so right. Do you know what I mean? And they were, in my opinion, the Chelsea Football Club will never learn as long as Todd Boehly is running the club. Do you know what I mean? He must be the next manager because he's the one who likes to put his nose in, Simon. Because I tell you what, right? I mean, our owners at Newcastle would never, ever, ever, ever be like that to Eddie Howe. Eddie will not allow it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, there's a couple of things there. Number one, Boehly wasn't involved in this. It was the sporting directors and Nick Barley. So even though Boehly is in control, I think he had very little to do with this. I think he's removing himself from his exposure at the club little by little because I think he's realising he's not doing his public persona too much. And the horrible irony about this, so many ironies in football, and Chelsea Football Club should be called Irony Football Club. Abramovich used to get slaughtered by everyone for burning through managers, but he knew when to do it and why to do it. And the stability that we've now got means that I think they've got through more managers than Abramovich would ever have done, but with no end result. So, the clear vision to me is a bit like I don't know, trying to take a leak in the toilet when the light's not working. I can't see where it's going. So, at first everyone was quite bemused by the way that Roman cut people out. I mean, when he sacked Frank Lampard, we were all distraught. Within 5 months, Tuchel won the Champions League. He knew what he was doing, and he would be ruthless. I don't think these guys know what they're doing at all. Easy to say, but they're really putting their what's on the line now for next season. And a little funny aside, which is another irony, John. You know Soccer Aids at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Do you know who's managing one of the sides?
You guessed it, Poch.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a ticket for it as well. It's going to be hysterical. But I hear what you say about your ownership and Eddie Howe. No two ownerships are the same, are they? But as we said before when we were discussing Eddie Howe, Eddie inherited a squad that had players in there that had been around the club for some time. And again, going back to the Cobham boys, even as youngsters, they've been around the club for a long time. Now, our most experienced players, take the Cobham boys out, have been there 18 months or so. You just don't get a feel for the football club, and you don't get that sense of continuity that you need to grow a club and to grow a team.
Yeah, totally true, man. Look at some bettings as well for the next manager for Chelsea. This is very interesting, right? I mean, not in particular order, yeah. Roberto De Zerbi's being linked. Kieran McKenna's being linked. And you also got the Stuttgart manager being linked as well, which I cannot pronounce. And Tommy Tuchel as well is in the betting as well. For me, personally, I mean, I think you should get Tuchel back, because I think Tuchel's done a fantastic job at Chelsea in my book. And I tell you what as well, right? There should be burning bridges between Bowley and Tuchel. If you get Tuchel back, give him the reins. Let him do what he has to do, and he'll win you something. Yeah, but he's going to need a bit of time. But after the way Poch has got sat, he's going to be thinking, "Yo, I'm not going to go there. No chance. Absolutely no chance."
Yeah, I think Tuchel to Man United, from what I know, is practically a done deal, John. I think that's practically a done deal. Yeah.
Okay. Tuchel's a done. Tuchel to United then. Wow.
Yeah, that's again what I am being led to believe. Not that I've got any great inside knowledge, and that would make more sense because I think there was a major bust up between Tuchel and the ownership. As regards, also there's something telling. I think the statement said they want a young, progressive, thinking manager, something along those lines. So they want somebody who's got young, in their 30s, I'd say, and then you're putting somebody who won't have Premier League experience, probably won't have experience of the madcap way the club is run, with the expectations that the club has got, and then just dumping them in. That is a big ask. So I think it needs a more seasoned pair of hands at the moment, if I'm honest. Who that is, I don't know. Maybe get Gus Hiddink back again. He's only been back twice to rescue us. But I just don't know. It's an impossible one to say. It's ridiculous because we're talking about a manager or a head coach again at Chelsea, and it's harder to predict this than when we come on and talk about matches, mate. It really is. It's just out there. Who is it? I don't know. I think I'm 100 to 1 if you want to stick a fiver on it, mate.
Yeah, sure. The thing is as well, right? I mean, I look at the betters as well. I'll comment on that in a minute. But my screen is frozen, as you can see. So I was just going to the next question, right? I mean, if you tell us about Pochettino, how good a job he did, I'm going to be back in 1 minute, yeah? So you just tell the viewers what you think of Pochettino as a manager, and was he harshly sacked? Crack on, man. You crack on, man.
No pressure. I don't think he did as good a job as perhaps people may perceive. I think he did an okay job. Injuries hampered us massively. No doubt about that. I know from your point of view, your club, I've made some notes here. Your club had 38 injuries in the season, costing you 258 games. We had 54 injuries, which cost us 309 games. So injuries have played a part. Then some people say that's his training methods. He did us. 3 or 4 months ago, somebody said, "You've got 6th." I'd have said, "Fantastic, we'll take it." So it ain't bad. It ain't bad at all. You know, we missed a chance against Liverpool, missed at Wembley, missed a chance against Man City at Wembley. You know, we just showed a complete lack of bite in those games, or self-belief. And that's one thing that top sides always have. And that was always the one concern about Poch, is can he get players to play at a level above and beyond that they're capable of? Because he hasn't really done that. Spurs, he got to the Champions League final, but they just folded. And I've seen some performances, particularly away from home, where the team have just folded like a deck of cards, absolute deck of cards. And I think that's down to the manager. And you can say, well, they're young and they're inexperienced. And I'm not saying he's going to come back. You put Mourinho in that and he'd have them believing they can beat anyone. So, oh, you're back now, good. So, long answer short, he did a good job. 6, I'm happy with. European competition, okay. So, I think he deserved a second chance, a second crack of it. But he only had a 2-season deal, John. So if it went wrong in the season, then the club have got real problems then. So and I'm not making excuses for them, but they probably didn't do themselves any favours by giving him just a 2-year deal.
Yeah, I think that's the best way, because they gave him a 4-year deal, and he left after 1 season, sat after 1 season. It's going to be a big, big, big payoff as well, yet again. And I tell you what, you got more payoffs than flipping paying the players as well. So
yeah, we got more payoffs than Donald Trump, mate.
Fat, absolute fat. And you know what? That's why you give them 2-year deals. Let's go for the betting as well. For those who didn't know, is the Zerbi 15-8 favourites. This is the Sky bets, by the way. Ruben Amorim 5-1. Kim Mckenna, he's everywhere, and he's 6-1. Sebastian Hornis, Stuttgart manager, 6-1. Tuchel 7-1. We can rule that one out. Jose 10-1. Antonio Conte 16-1. Nagelsmann 16-1 as well. Those are your betting. So De Zerbi, top of the shop as well. Now, the way he upset Brighton, right? The way they run the business. Yeah. Can De Zerbi get away with that at Chelsea? Because as far as I know, I don't think he can.
No, I don't want anything to do with that club anymore. I think they've made enough money out of Chelsea, but I don't like the guy. He reminds me a little of Sarri, very stubborn Italian. Not criticising him, but he seems to have one way, and that's the only way. You've got to be tactically flexible in this league, and the guy just says that's the way I play. It's like Ange, mate. You can't become an elite side if you just have one way of playing. And De Zerbi comes across that. Amorim, if I'm honest, looking very disparately, is the favourite for me. If the description that I've mentioned to you that the club have come out with is accurate, and that guy fits the bill as best as possible, but he's not managed to win Premier League game. And as you know, John, it's a brutal league. It's brutal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, because they're scared they don't want to make top 4. And also as well, right, if you don't start well, you'll be playing catch up with the Premier League. It is a brutal league.
Yeah, exactly this. You know, you're going in. I mean, Lord knows what the first fixture's like. We've got a tough first fixture. We're already missing Reece James before the rest of the players who will no doubt get injured on holiday and in the Euros get injured. And if we lose that first game, the pressure is going to be immense. I'm not being negative. You know, it can happen. You know, look at Villa. Villa's first and last games, I think they lost 9-1 on aggregate. 36 games in between, they've got top 4. You know, they've got an experienced manager at the helm. He should have been manager of the year, by the way, for me. But you're talking mega pressure here. Also, there's next summer, John, is we've got the inaugural new format of the Club World Cup as well, which Chelsea are in June. So there's a tournament again straight after the season ends. So you've got to consider that as well. All these bloody tournaments are just getting beyond me, I have to say. So whoever's got the job, good luck to him. Could be Emma Hayes. No, she's good luck to him.
Yeah,
because it's a tough ask, because I don't know what these guys want, and the Gallagher and Chalobah situation is going to be the most telling, because if they do go, then that manager, coach who comes in has got to understand that he's working with one arm behind his back.
Fact. And you know what? You've got to let the manager manage, because at the end of the day, right, if I was the manager, I want control of the manager. I don't want to be head coach, manager. I have the final say. I decide who wants to come in. You go out and get them. You got the money, back the manager. If you don't back the manager, like you just said there, you got one hands behind your back, and you're fighting a losing battle against these lot. Let's be real. And I'll tell you what as well. I mean, I think Pochettino would have got you top 4 easy next season as well. But now he's gone. You're back to the drawing board. It's going to be a transitional season for you guys, like Liverpool as well. So, like I said, if I have my choice, I think for you guys, I think Amorim. If you want a young manager, Amorim is going to be a fantastic manager. Champions League experience, European League experience, win trophies for Sporting Lisbon. Kim Mckenna, I don't think he's ready yet, to be fair. I'm not going to lie. He should cut his teeth.
Completely agree.
Town, and it's got to be Ruben Araway. I think he'd do fantastic for you guys. So we'll see what happens on that. Let's quickly go on to Newcastle United as well. I mean, our season, we finished 7th, and Eddie Howe's done another good job despite the injuries as well. I mean, do you think Newcastle had a good season despite the injuries?
Yeah, I think that they're showing similar frailties to Chelsea. I think they look very good in attack, and they can be got at the back. I think both clubs, I don't know if you caught the injury bit that I chatted to you when you went disappearing, but I think there's key players that have been missing for both clubs. And the key player that's been missing for you is Pope, who is England's best goalkeeper. We've had this conversation before, haven't we?
Yeah.
When you lose your keeper, I'm not digging out Dubravnik, but when you miss your keeper, who's as good as he is, then you're on hiding to nothing in certain ways. And for Chelsea, and amongst all the injuries, I'd say like Wesley Fofana hasn't kicked a ball again. He would be one of our number 1 centre backs, and I'm not knocking all the players that have come in. I can't knock Thiago Silva one bit. I mean, the guy's in his 40th year, for God's sake. The money's an utter legend. But these are the sort of players that can make a difference when you're conceding lots of goals. And we don't have a goalkeeper, I'm afraid, that's as good as Pope as well. So I think conceding goals has been both of our clubs' Achilles' heels, John, if I'm honest. You've got an excuse with Pope, I think. Now, kind of, we've got an excuse because it's been unsettled. I've been playing Colwell at left back, for God's sake. We've sold Lewis Hall. We're playing a centre back at left back. But part of that is our own doing by having a mismatch of a squad. You've played in the Champions League. The pressure is on, though, isn't it? Next season already. United are going to be stronger. Everyone else is going to be stronger. Top 4, it just gets harder and harder. Villa are going to find out, I think, how hard it is to compete in the Champions League and maintain a top 4 position. And there's already talk about them having to sell players. They have spent a lot of money, Villa, so they're going to watch the purse strings a little. But I think you can't moan about where you are. You nearly beat us on penalties. Never get that game in the semi-final at Stamford Bridge. So I guess you've had a couple of nearly moments, haven't you?
Yeah. We have. I mean, when you mean early moments, you mean trying to get the top 4?
Yeah, in terms of cup competitions as well, like the Chelsea games, penalties, and Champions League.
I agree.
There's a thin line between success and failure in football at an elite level, John. And I think sometimes you can look at it half full or half empty. I just look at it full. So, you could be disappointed, but you look back on those slight bits of fortune that don't often go your way for any club, don't they?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, fine margins as well. I mean, if you won that game at Stamford Bridge in the cup, thanks to Kieran Trippier, header, what was he doing? The thing is, right, if he played for Arsenal or Tottenham and he did that and cost your team the game, he'd be absolutely lynched. By Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, United, he'd be lynched. But for Newcastle, we're not allowed to criticise anyone at all. But I say it now, I love Kieran Trippier. He's been a pioneer. But this season, if he goes to marks out of 10 this season, he's a 5 because it has cost us in games. It cost us against Everton. It cost us against Chelsea. Possibly a final date. We would have beaten the bar. At the end of the day, I'm not going to lie to you, but he's not had a good season at all whatsoever. And the first goal last week against United, that was done on him as well. But again, I hope people watching, I'm saying it from the heart, Simon. I'm saying that how it is. I love Kieran Trippier to the bottom of my heart, but I have to call it out and I have to be honest. It's got to be said. If you don't say it out, then people's going to call you weak. And you've got to say it from there. But you're right. I mean, we could have got Champions League. We could have got Champions League. If we had not had any injuries, we'd be top 4. No doubt about it. And if we had beaten teams like Luton, Forest, Bournemouth for home, you should never have lost to Luton away, right? That's shocking. And if you look at the games, we should have won. 11 defeats on the road ain't good enough for Newcastle United. We have gone backwards away. That is unacceptable. Yes, injuries, everyone gets injuries, but look at the record. The stats do not lie. The record does not lie. You do it over 38 games. We've lost 11 games away. That is unacceptable, right? Luckily, he scored 103 goals this season, 102 goals this season. That's the highest in the Premier League, right? Or close to it, But next season, I want an improvement on the away form. The away form's got to improve. I want to see changes there, For me, I mean, 36, goodbye. That's Longstaff, Murphy, squad player, best, Target, goodbye. Hendrick, goodbye. Hayden, goodbye, I want to see them all gone, Richie, Dummett, they can go as well. You know, this is phase 3 of a project, We got to keep turning over, Because at the end of the day, you can't go phase 3 in a new project where you've got the players I've just mentioned it in the team. But people are going to have a go at us now because I'm being negative. I'm not. I'm speaking facts. There's 2 things I want for Newcastle United. I want to be successful. I want to win football matches. And that's the most important thing. Like Chelsea, do you think I'm being a bit harsh? Do you think I'm being negative? Or do you think I'm being honest?
Well, I don't know, because I don't see those players play as regularly as you do, John. But I think ultimately we've all got opinions. And I think the other thing is you do, again, I'm not contradicting what I said earlier about
No. You're right.
Calabar and Gallagher, for example, because you do need money. But for me, you've got to balance the books.
We have to somewhere.
Kepa's coming back this season. Sell him. Ziyech is, I think, sold. Lukaku's still our player. He's coming back this summer. You know, so there's lots of players that actually Chelsea can move on with big money. Potentially Sterling. I think he's seen his better day. You know, 320 grand a week. Chilwell didn't appear on the pitch at the end of the season, not at the Player of the Season awards. 200 grand a week. He looks like his injuries are costing him his career. So sometimes sentimentality has to be replaced by practicality in football, because it's a brutal business. And Sterling and Chilwell are 2 players that I thought may be moved on this summer for that reason, you know, because of the way, and because Sterling's form has been so poor. Now we've got Cole Palmer, we're starting to get our attacking players back. And Chilwell, I just see a different player, completely different. I think he's just too injury prone. And there'll be other players as well. But you can't, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, John.
I agree. It's got to be said. It's got to be said, man, because at the end of the day, right? I mean, I speak facts when I speak to people at Newcastle United. I speak facts. I'm not flipping and flopping. I just say it from the heart and I say it how it is. Do you know what I mean? And that's not having a go. That's just being factual. Do you know what I mean? You just said there, sentiment has got to be replaced by practicality. And that's what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I like to see Eddie be ruthless to the players this summer. I want him to be ruthless. And if he's ruthless, then it goes a long way. If he's not going to be ruthless, the owners will make him be ruthless. Do you know what I mean? I love Eddie Howe the bits, man. I love him the bits. He deserves another season for me. And I hope he stays for many more years to come. So I hope he wins the trophy. And if he wins the trophy, then hopefully this guy will be an absolute toon legend. And
so who's your player of the season at Newcastle?
My player of the season, Anthony Gordon, by a mile.
Was he the club's player of the season as well? Do you know?
Yeah, he was supporters and the club's player of the season as well. This guy, he's a baller. Star boy this season, man. Do you know what I mean? This guy, He scored 12 goals this season, 11 assists. And I tell you what, right? Since he came, people all doubted him coming to Newcastle, doubted him. This guy has got talent. He's a talent. And I'm glad he's got picked for England, by the way. This guy got out of Liverpool real quick, yeah, and come to Newcastle. He chose us, yeah. And since then, his attitude, apart from Brentford, is 100% spot on. He is so polite. He does things off the pitch as well, off field. Spot on. Visited the hospital up in Manchester the other day. This guy, honestly, is amazing. Absolutely fantastic. I've got a chatter called Lorraine Turner, and she's absolutely spot on. Always see me chat. Big up to Lorraine, by the way, if you're watching this later on, man. Massive Gordon fan. And do you know what? Long may it continue with Anthony. Hope he does well. I want him to win things with us, and long may it continue.
The reason I ask you, sometimes the way looking at a squad is, you know, what would you do if he was out for the season? Not in a negative way, but those injuries can happen. So, you know, would the squad be able to play to the same degree of efficiency without losing your best player for a year? Some clubs can say yes, some clubs they'd struggle.
Well, for me, I mean, if you lose players like Anthony Gordon out for the season, say 5 months to go and he's out for the season, right? Let's be real, right? It's going to be a massive, massive miss. Harvey Barnes, right? I mean, look, he's had injuries as well. I like Harvey Barnes, yeah? I mean, he has some good games and poor games. I can't lie. I mean, he had a good game against Brentford the other day. Props to him. But next season, it's going to be a massive season for Harvey. And if he hits it off like the Leicester form, then we got a player on hands, yeah? Miguel Miron, he can go as well. Jacob Murphy, I mean, you know, if we can get money for this guy, then I wouldn't lose any sleep on it, yeah? But we need a goalkeeper, we need a centre forward, we need a right side midfield again to cover, right? The cover, we need a cover from the left side as well, if possible. We definitely need a centre back, yeah? Lewis Hall's a done deal, yeah? We could do with another right back as well, yeah? And another striker, I said as well, because Callum Wilson, his injury record's not good at all. I mean, if he moves on, we need another striker, yeah? Go and get me Aradouš Milik for Juventus, yeah? 30-year-old, I think he'd do a job in the Premier League. He was on the season-long loan. He's not going to be in the first team, yeah? Because Vlahovic is going to be in the first team at Juventus, guaranteed. But get Milik. I think he'd be out for Newcastle. I think he's slight. I think he'd be a good player.
Yeah. You could do a swap deal, Lukaku for Isaac, if you want.
No thanks. I don't like Lukaku's attitude at all. I'm sorry, but look, at the end of the day, right? I mean, the moment we did that interview, right, behind Chelsea's back, he's done. The guy is done, and he only just signed them, by the way. Speaking to Lautaro Martinez, no, you stay there, my guy. You stay there. I'm coming. Yeah. Do you know what I'd do? I would have banned him in the reserves, kick him out of the club, and take the loss on this guy because he's a disgrace, Lukaku. Seriously, man. Good player, but it's disgrace, man. Not for me. Listen, we're going to wrap up the show then, my guy. And, you know, it's gone over 30 minutes. But before we shoot off, where can we find you on your socials, Simon?
At Cy Rich Kirby, SIRICHKIRBY on Twitter. And at Simon Richard Kirby on Instagram, but I'm not very good at pictures. So Twitter's me home from home, or X. Sorry, Elon.
Yep. Oh, fantastic. Don't worry about it, man. I mean, the link's in the title. The title's in the description as well. When you look at the title, it says featured Cy Rich Kirby as well. So do follow him on his Twitter account as well. And so I forgot to ask you, give us a Chelsea manager. Who should be Chelsea? Next Chelsea manager, give us a name.
I'm going to go Amorim, from only because of what I've managed to glean in the last hour and a half of my life. But that's just off the cuff, mate. Please delete this if I'm wrong, because I know you'll remind me about it next time I speak to you, mate.
That's staying on, mate. If I get the views, it stays. But I'm going to share it out. Make sure you share my channel out as well. And I'm going to send a link to it as well in a bit as well. So, guys, if you like the video, like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast, John Sinclair TV. I'll be back tomorrow with Joe, Villa fan. We're going to talk about my team and his team as well. On Thursday, I've got Chris Lester Till I Die. He'll be coming on my channel as well. I've got 2 big names coming on next week. One's a live show, one's a recorded show. I'm going to keep that one on the wraps as well. And guys, enjoy your evening. And just a bit of breaking news. Pochettino has been sacked, or mutual consent, whatever you want to make it out to be. And it looks like Amorim could be the favourite. So like and subscribe. Big up,